What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Run the North podcast. We are here today immediately following round one of the NFL draft, so that's going to be the topic of today's episode. Start off by talking quickly about Lamar because that actually happened, I think 2 hours before the draft. He ended up getting his deal done with the Ravens. Then we're going to talk about briefly every single first round pick that was made tonight. Some pretty bad ones were made. We'll talk about those. We'll talk about the good ones. We'll talk about the meh ones. But before we get into all that, boys, how we doing?
I'm doing fan-fucking-tastic.
I'm doing, not too bad, not too good. I'm just kind of doing, How you doing, Jakey boy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm happy with what the Packers did tonight. It was a fun stream. We had a good time. So
it was an incredible stream. Shout out to
it was a great stream
to all the peeps. I really wish we all had more time. I think doing a weekly live stream would be fun as shit. I just don't know where we
it
fit
definitely
that
would
in.
be. It's also a good way to grow on YouTube. But yeah,
I just
could
don't
do that
know.
over the summer.
Yeah,
It's something we can
actually,
talk about,
when you guys have more time, yeah. I always
Yeah.
got time. I'm up until 5 in the morning every day, anyways. So
No,
we can make it work.
it's true.
I won't be working over the summer, so
Valid.
Perfect.
I
I'll
totally
tell you
forgot
time.
to go record my Vikings draft pick video before this.
you
Whoops.
can do it after.
Dude, I forget to record TikToks for days at a time. It's a great time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely do the exact same thing. I still haven't made a video about the Riders trade.
Nice.
Just to give you guys a specific example there. But yeah, like I mentioned earlier in the episode, just a couple hours before the draft, the Ravens decided to make the first big move of draft day by signing Lamar Jackson to a 5-year deal, including $185 million guaranteed with a maximum of $260 million. I mean, my thoughts on this are pretty short and sweet. It's a good deal for both sides. I think Lamar made the right decision to stay in Baltimore because I think that they're a team that can definitely win. And I think that it's not the worst money-wise. He got what he wanted. It's just a little bit. They got him for less than the Cardinals got Kyler, so that's definitely guaranteed-wise. Yeah.
What's Kyler's guaranteed?
190 something, I believe.
Oh, is it? I thought it was 160. Hold on, I'm double checking.
Amy probably lied to me. Amy was telling me that they got him for
God
less.
damn it.
Maybe he didn't.
Hold on, I'm double checking it. Hold on. 230 mil, 160 mil guaranteed. So Lamar is the second highest guaranteed ever behind he who shall not be named in Cleveland.
But he also gets the most per year out of any player ever.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
With $52 million, yeah.
True.
Yeah, like I said, I like this deal a lot.
It's a W.
I'm a
For
big
sure.
fan of Lamar. He was my dark horse MVP pick. I figured he'd be playing for the Ravens. They did a good job getting him some help in the draft today. We'll talk about that. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the deal, and I think you boys probably both are as well. But let me hear your takes on it.
I hate
Geek
it.
was making a face. I thought you're. I
No, I
thought you were
dropped my
about to say,
phone.
I don't know.
No, I hate it. I hate the move. Lamar was supposed to be a Viking, so I hate it.
This guy and his
We
pride.
understand.
Yeah, no, I love it. It keeps Lamar out of Minnesota, which is obviously a big W. Not that was ever really on the table.
Everything's on the table, Miller.
Yeah, but no, like Jake said, very well deserved. Dude is a sick NFL player, and I had my doubts with him representing himself. I'm not gonna lie. But he got it done. He got a deal done that works for both him and the Baltimore Ravens organization. So, big W's all around. 5 more years of Lamar. To anyone out there doubting Lamar, I saw one guy when I tweeted out, well fucking deserved for the Lamar contract. Somebody replied and said 180 million for someone who plays 7 games a season. Just shut up if you're like that, dude. Lamar's good. I don't know what else he needs to prove to people. He really shouldn't have to prove anything.
He gets hurt because he's a
proven everything he
running
needs
quarterback, only he's never gotten hurt running the ball. But we don't.
He got hurt while sitting in the pocket.
Yeah, like every quarterback ever would have.
Mhm.
Yeah. Injuries happen. It's a freak accident.
Yep.
Shit happens. Anyway, Lamar signed good.
Yes.
Yeah. Same kind of feelings there, Geek.
Oh yeah, Other than I hate it because, he's wearing the wrong shade of purple. I mean, it's a great deal. I'm just salty. That's it. I'm just salty.
Fair enough. But yeah, without further ado, I mean, the big part of today, like I said, we just got off a 4-something hour live stream, going through the entire first round of the NFL draft, reacting to every pick, having some guests on. And so what we're going to do now is just kind of sit back and get our reactions now that we've kind of had some time to sit and think about them. The first overall pick was the only pick that I actually felt confident I was right about this year. And the Carolina Panthers did select Bryce Young. I mean, I'll start out. I think that this was the right pick. I think Bryce Young, he very quickly moved his way back into my QB1 spot after I had Richardson there for a while. I think he's the best guy for the Panthers right now in their current situation. I think that he's a very, very good quarterback. Obviously, the size concerns are a very real thing, but also it doesn't move the needle enough for me to be like, oh, it should have been Stroud or Richardson or whatever. But I do think that Young is definitely the right pick for them there for sure.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think Bryce has been my guy all the way through. There might have been like a week where I was like,
he's been your guy the whole way through because we've
Either
argued
way.
a lot.
Yeah, okay, true. Now, as much as I love Anthony Richardson, Bryce is just better right now. I don't have to get into it. We've had this conversation 1,000 times. Bryce is more polished. He's the better passer right now. All that good stuff. So him going to Carolina, who has a legitimate chance of winning their division this year, thanks to how awful the NFC South is, and the fact that they actually have a competent offensive line, great coaching staff. He's got some weapons there. He's a fullback, a real fullback away from a really nice offense surrounding him because fuck Giovanni Ricci. And his defense isn't too bad either.
One.
What is it?
Adam Thielen, fullback 1.
I mean, hey, put him in a Ben Skoranek role. He's probably better than Ricci. But yeah, I mean, you take QB1, you put him in the best situation for a young quarterback to develop in, and I think that's a home run pick. Yeah, there's really nothing bad to say about this one.
Mm-hmm. Nope. Best QB in the draft. I still have an issue with the size more than it seems like either of you do, and that's just because the one knock on Bryce Young is his size, and compared to the knocks on any other quarterback, that's the only thing that cannot be changed. You can fix Richardson's mechanics. You can't make Bryce Young taller. You just can't.
You can put him on stilts, I suppose.
That would be classic. I'd love
Listen,
it. Listen,
everybody gets it till Bryce Young comes out on Adam Thielen's shoulders week 1.
That would be sick.
Like a giant trench coat.
Right.
It'd be so sick.
Nobody will ever know. He's all of a sudden 8 feet tall.
Good pick. I don't have a problem with it. He's the best quarterback in the class, so good pick.
Yeah. And then second overall, a pick that had some controversy surrounding it leading up to the draft, but in reality, I think we all knew what was actually going to end up happening. The Houston Texans selected C.J. Stroud, quarterback out of Ohio State. Some of us may have even liked him a little bit more than Young. Some of us like him a lot. Some of us have him as our QB3. But Stroud, I liked it a lot. I think there's an argument for Richardson here, but Stroud's the most polished passer in this class, in my opinion. I think he's super accurate, very, very refined, and like we're gonna talk about it with the next pick. But DeMeco Ryan still did what he wanted to do, come in and just be built around the defense as well. So getting the best of both worlds is perfect. I think that I don't know. Like maybe you bank on Richardson if your timeline's a little bit more fitting for him, but getting the best quarterback available at that point.
Here's an interesting thought, though. The Texans could win their division with Stroud. Their only comp is the Jaguars, and the Jaguars are good, but they're not great. The rosters are close. So, Stroud gives you a chance to be semi-competitive now. Richardson could, absolutely, but it's also, a good idea to not have to ask for that. Give him time. But Stroud's a great pick. He was my QB2, so I like it. I hate that he's a Texan. You're going to hear that about a lot of picks coming up here. I hate that they're not Vikings, but it's okay.
No, I agree with Geek. There's definitely a world where Houston is contending for their division right now. That's going to come down to, what D'Amico is able to make out of his defense. Like, he has a lot of really nice young pieces, one that we'll talk about here in a moment. They've got, I think they still have day 2 picks. Do they still have them after the trade?
They still have 34. They have one of the seconds because they traded.
Yeah, they have one of their seconds still.
Right.
What
okay.
did they do?
So
hold on, I gotta go look at the Texans draft picks now.
Either way, they've got Stingley. They've got a defensive tackle. I can't remember that. Thomas Booker the fourth. I like him a good bit, at least for D'Amico's defense. They've got safety Jalen Petrie. They've got the linebacker out of Alabama, who I can't remember the name of. Like, they've got a lot of really nice young pieces. They're bringing over Jimmy Ward, I want to say. I think that was the Niner that got brought over, one of their safeties. They've got some pieces on defense. And now with Stroud, you're giving him John Mechie, who we saw finally return to football activities today, which is wonderful. They've got Dalton Schultz. They've got a good run game. They've got a offensive line that is improving. They still have picks to work on that. Like, there is a solid basis for a team in Houston. There is a future and a clear plan in Houston right now, and that is huge. Because after everything that fan base has been through in their very short time in the NFL, they deserve to have a clear direction, and they finally have one. And I'm super happy for them. And I'm even more happy that they are in a better position than the team that, took he who shall not be named off their hands.
Mm-hmm.
So the Texans do not have a second-round pick, but they still have 2/3.
Okay.
Works for me. With how deep the edge class is, they can add another really nice edge in the 3rd round and probably go after interior offensive line in the 3rd as well. A guy like Weipler or Joe Tippmann or Juice Scruggs or your boy that I can't. Voorhees would be cool. Your boy from Michigan that I can't pronounce the name of, Oluwatimi. I forget how to say his first name.
Yeah.
Olusegun, okay, but yeah, Oluwatimi, he could also be a nice pick for them. Like there is potential in Houston for sure.
Yeah. Rolling right along with their potential, they then decided that they were going to trade back up to the 3rd overall pick with the Cardinals. We all expected them to shop it, did not expect it to be Houston, although we did kind of accidentally do that in one of our mocks one time, so I guess we must have been cooking.
I think that was the mock we tried to be goofy in on purpose.
Yeah. And I said, this mock will be closer than any other mock we do because the draft is goofy. We cook. Yeah. That's what we do. We just
fair enough. Yep. And then they ended up getting their defensive player anyway, and they got Will Anderson Jr., who, as much as we like to be like, oh, Tyree Wilson's better, is a very good player, very good defensive prospect. Yeah. And I don't think there's any denying that this is a good pick for the Texans. In my opinion, I would not have gone Tyree Wilson here. I think Will Anderson is the guy that they liked better. I think Will Anderson's. I think Will Anderson was their guy. I think he was D'Amico's guy, and so I think that he's valid in doing it. It's a cornerstone piece for your defense. They desperately need help in the pass rush after. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to pronounce his name. The one guy who left for Cleveland.
Agarankwo. Yeah.
Yeah. When that guy left, I knew they needed some kind of juice in the pass rush, and so good move for them. Good move overall. Good pick. That's my take on it.
Yeah. Like Jake said, we give Will Anderson a lot of shit, but at the end of the day, he's a damn good ball player. It's just he doesn't quite have the upside that Tyree Wilson has, and I don't think he'll ever be like a game wrecker like Tyree Wilson can be. But he can be a consistent 10-sack guy for you, and at the end of the day, that's all you need. If you can get 10 sacks out of an edge rusher, that's good value. That's what you want. And the connections with Alabama, obviously D'Amico coming from Alabama and Will Anderson being a big-time Alabama prospect. I'm sure Nick Saban was in his ear constantly like, hey, listen, I got a boy you're going to love. And, they ended up with him. Don't hate the pick whatsoever. I would have liked to see them take Tyree more, just personally, because I think Tyree's better. But like Jake said, the fit makes sense. I'm sure it was D'Amico's guy, and I can't fault them for taking Will Anderson over Tyree Wilson. You can't go wrong either way. I just think Tyree's better.
Yeah, there's not much more to say here. They got both of their guys. I don't know. The Texans are probably one of the bigger winners of the first round. And they did it in
the first round, yeah.
There's another team that I think
but there is a
it may have only had one pick, but we'll get there eventually. There are a couple clear losers too, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Will Anderson, good pick. Another good pick right after him, Indianapolis Colts took the guy that I thought was the best guy for them all along, and Anthony Richardson. And another guy the Geek wanted to be Viking so badly.
It was supposed to be Levis.
Just about slipped. We were talking about on the stream the possibility of Levis going there. What would happen if that happened? The chaos that would ensue after. But Richardson in Steichen's offense, that's the big thing. Is Steichen, huge part in developing Jalen Hurts and turning him into what he is today. And Anthony Richardson, same kind of skill set. Very young, very raw, but a guy that Steichen certainly is not unfamiliar with as far as play style, as far as how raw he is. He's also super young, like I said, and he's got a little bit of a ways to go. But I think Anthony Richardson, with him and Jonathan Taylor in that offense, in that offense, it's going to be a very, very, very good rushing attack as long as our offensive line gets a little bit of help in the draft here. But overall, it's a really solid pick. I personally would have been pretty disappointed if they had taken Levis over Richardson here. So this is a slam dunk for me. I think this should have been their guy all along.
So I gonna go back to what we were talking about. I promise you, the Vikings were the other team trying to move up to 3. That's why it took so long for a trade to happen. Because we were all sitting there like, what's going on? It just ended up being, 12 is better than 23 when it comes to the pick you're trading for. So even if the comp is close, you're going to want the higher draft pick this year, which is valid. Yeah, Anthony Richardson's a good pick. I don't agree as much with Jake on he will be a great rushing attack. Jonathan Taylor's going to be mid as he was last year. But I hope Steichen can develop him, because Richardson should be one of the 10 best quarterbacks in football, at least kind of quickly. So I hope the Colts don't mess this one up. They don't know what it takes to develop a quarterback. They keep signing old guys, so we'll see what happens. Good pick, though.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Geek. I don't want to say too much about their rushing attack because they don't employ a fullback, and they won't because Shane Steichen is not a fullback guy. So L. Steichen, but a great pick by the Colts. Like Jake said, Steichen developed Jalen Hurts. Big deal there. Hurts is probably the freakiest athlete we have ever seen at the quarterback position, as shown by that perfect 10 RES score.
Richardson,
right?
not Hurts.
Perfect 10.
Richardson, okay.
Fuck, dude, it's 12:30. Okay,
yeah, it's after midnight.
After midnight, names
and we've
get
been
difficult.
talking about football for 6 hours.
So, Richardson is what I meant. My apologies.
You're good.
But yeah, Richardson's a dog. I have a lot of faith in him. I think he's going to develop into something very special for the Colts. And it's great that they don't have to rely on more washed veterans. And Jim Irsay was finally like, you know what, fuck it. Bring something new into the building and not just trying to rehash other people's garbage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rare Irsay W in that.
Rare Irsay W.
Valid.
Yeah, but again, another consensus good pick. These top 4 picks were all pretty solid. And then Seattle decided to provide us with our first kind of surprise in the draft by taking Devon Witherspoon, obviously the corner out of Illinois, at number 5. I mean, I started to warm up to this pick a little bit more as time went on. He's a physical guy. They like their physical defenders. They don't really have any corners aside to Tariq Woolen. And the big thing is like, well, what about Christian Gonzalez? I just think that they like the physicality and the tenacity of Devon Witherspoon a little bit more. And that's just kind of what Pete Carroll and that Seahawks team kind of values in their defenders. And I don't hate the pick necessarily. It's definitely probably my lowest graded pick. If we were to be grading picks, probably be my lowest graded pick so far out of these top five. But
Yeah.
I can't really trash him too much. They do need a corner, and Devon Witherspoon, I'm pretty high on him. I think he's pretty good, so I'm not going to be sitting here and be like, oh, how could they? How could they not take Jalen Carter? But yeah.
Yeah. So with Carter, obviously we'll touch on him more in a couple picks here, but clearly seems like something's going on there. You know, the Seahawks passing on him, Chicago passing on him, Detroit passing on him. Those are three teams that could have very easily taken Carter and very much used him. So them passing on him clearly means something that we don't know. That being said, with Witherspoon, I know there's a lot of people that are very upset with this pick. I like it a lot for Seattle. He's not Christian Gonzalez. Gonzalez is a good bit better, but in terms of scheme fit, I know people hate that word, but the Seahawks like their guys to have a little bit of grit to them. They like them to have that little bit of a mean streak, a little bit of toughness. And that is exactly what Devon Witherspoon brings to your defense. He might be a smaller corner in stature, but he punches above his weight class in terms of flying up to the line of scrimmage and hitting people, making tackles behind the line of scrimmage. You can do a lot with him. And I think he's going to be fantastic opposite Woolen. And I just think it's a really good pick for Seattle. Obviously, like I said, Gonzalez would have been a better pick here, but I understand why Seattle did it, and I can't be mad at them for it. Another thing Seattle has said before, they want like higher character guys. They're trying to change that part of their culture where they were just kind of like, fuck it, we don't care what you're like, we just want you to be good at football. They're trying to go a different route. And that's not like bashing Christian Gonzalez. I'm sure he's also a wonderful person. I just know for a fact from what I've read and what I've seen, what I've heard in interviews and all that Devon Witherspoon is a very high character player. Yep. So I can't be mad at it.
Yeah, I'm lower on Devon than everybody else. You guys know that. But if you're going to pass on Carter, which, I mean, dude cannot interview well is the only answer. He has to be the worst. Yeah. But, like, if you're going to pass on him, my concerns with Devon, I mean, there's not a better place for him to go. Seattle develops corners like a motherfucker. He's got a ton of talent. So, like, there's not really a better landing spot. So, the concerns I have with him are less because it's Seattle. Like, yes, I still think Christian Gonzalez is the better corner. I also kind of just feel like he fits the mold of a Seattle corner better. Super long and whatever, like Richard Sherman framed. But Witherspoon can still be great. He's going there with Tariq Woolen. It'll be fun. It's definitely the lowest grade I'd have on any of the top five, but none of them are bad. It's just I'm not as high on Witherspoon, and that's just a me thing. It's still not a bad pick, though.
Real quick before we move on to the next pick, just because Jalen Carter can also get brought up in that conversation, I just want to throw it out there that Ryan Poles is currently doing his post-draft press conference, and he's not answering any questions about Jalen Carter, but he did say that character is very important to Chicago when asked about Carter. So clearly, like Geek said, the interviews must have been rough. He must have come off as not the type of player that teams want. Because Howie's been known to take flyers on guys who are, if you even want to call Carter a flyer, but like he's been known to take guys that are rough around the edges in personality. So like, I don't know. Maybe he's confident he's gonna fix Carter, so to speak.
Probably. That's probably the logic there.
I just wanted to bring that up because I got the notification. I didn't want to lose it.
Yeah. Fair enough. And then the Cardinals, who traded out of the third overall pick, then decided to trade back up. to the 6th overall pick, dropping the Lions down to 12, and for what everybody assumed was either Paris Johnson Jr. or Jalen Carter, and they ended up going Paris Johnson Jr. I don't hate this. They need a tackle bad, and he fits their timeline. They're not a team that's really necessarily competing right away, but also he's pretty raw. But I think that if you want to bet on a tackle with high upside, he's got the highest ceiling of any of the tackles in this class, in my opinion. I mean, if he hits that ceiling, he's going to be the best tackle in this class by a good bit. He's got a huge frame. He's athletic. Only started 1 year left tackle. I'm a little worried because the one thing I think you could be concerned about is, like, right now he'd probably start day one for the Cardinals with how bad their tackles are.
I'd be okay with it, though. You want him.
You want to throw him right in there. Yeah, I get that.
I was going to say, O-linemen don't sit. If you're sitting your O-lineman, that means he's bad. Yeah. No matter who he's behind.
Yeah. But overall, I like the pick. I'm not pounding the table, yelling at my screen because of this one for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm just glad they listened to Kyler. I know at the end of the day, the quarterback isn't the GM and he doesn't get to make the decisions, and we've seen that can backfire. Prime example being Justin Fields really liking Velus Jones, and we saw where he ended up. But if your GM is willing to listen to the quarterback and trust what the quarterback's saying, that's a great sign of confidence, and the Cardinals really needed that with Kyler. New regime, obviously, but they needed someone to come out and be like, listen, Kyler's our dude. And taking Paris is a prime example or a great gesture to show that. And additionally, like Jake said, you're getting a tackle who has fantastic upside. He's a little rough around the edges, but he can be a stud. And worst case, if he doesn't work out a tackle, he played guard in college. You can kick him inside and you can still make him work. He's a player that I don't see failing at the NFL level. I think it would take a lot for him to really be awful. You could definitely 5-10 years down the line see a world where maybe, a different tackle should have been taken there, but I don't see Paris Johnson just straight up sucking in the NFL by any means. So I think this is a really nice pick for Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, this is the second offensive lineman in, I believe, 5 years that the Cardinals have taken in the first 3 rounds. The other one was Josh Jones. So there you go. Help Kyler, maybe save him from tearing another ACL because he has to run away from 8 guys because you can't block anybody. So,
damn straight.
W Cardinals.
W Cardinals. Can we get W Cardinals in the chat, please?
There is no chat. We're not live anymore. No.
Make sure to leave a comment down below and say W Cardinals. We will reply.
Let us know you made it this far into the stream with the video with the W Cardinals. We got to get moving, boys.
Yeah. Oh, do we? Okay.
Yeah. 30 minutes in, we've got 6 picks.
Oh.
Jeez.
At pick number 7, Las Vegas, they decided that they were going to go with Tyree Wilson, Miller's boy. Sad times, but I think Miller will attest later in these next few picks that he ended up being quite happy with how that turned out for them. But Tyree Wilson went to the Raiders. Chandler Jones is a bad football player at this point, not that great of an edge rusher. You need another guy to go on Max Crosby. If anything, you needed youth at that position. Tyree Wilson, he's my edge one. Really high upside, great run defender already, huge, big, strong, tenacious, just to put it in 3 specific words that another team might have liked him for. But he checks every single box that you want in an edge rusher, but I think that this is a pretty easy pick for them.
Rare Raiders W.
Yeah,
it was not Deontay Banks, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yes, rare Raiders W.
Like Jake said, Tyree's my boy. He was my second favorite prospect in the entire class. I've been preaching the gospel since the moment I laid eyes upon that behemoth. And I just got to say, the Raiders got a good one, man. They really got a good one. The Raiders, they have Max Crosby. Fantastic football player. You're going to be pairing him with Tyree Wilson, who, like Jake said, needs a little bit of work. But you're going to be letting him learn from Max Crosby and Chandler Jones, who probably the best edge duo in the league to be learning from, because those two dudes know the position inside and out. They know how to win. They know how to be aggressive. They know how to attack the ball with physicality. And that's exactly what Tyree Wilson excels at. He's going to learn, he's just got to improve his tool belt a little bit, so to speak. And the Raiders are going to have him and Max Crosby, who's still 26-ish?
Yeah, Max Crosby's still pretty young.
Yeah, that's going to be a sick edge duo for a while.
Patty Mahomes better look out.
Yeah, no, we were talking all this about the Chargers edge duo that they got last off season. The Raiders just got a better one, or will have a better one here probably in about 2 years.
Might be better already. Khalil Mack is old and washed. He was not that good last year, so tough.
I know. I just wanted to pump up my boy Matt because I give him so much shit.
Joey Bosa is just also not that guy, so.
But yeah,
Cry
basically,
baby Bosa.
this was me. This
Nick
was me
Bosa
when pick announced.
All right.
This is true.
My favorite pick. Let's go.
Yeah, 8th overall pick, the Atlanta Falcons decided to make Bijan Robinson a top 10 pick, and they took him, and he is now their new workhorse guy. And what can I say? I mean, he's number 2 on my big board for a reason. I mean, he's fantastic. One of the better running back prospects we've seen in the last few years. Obviously, this is a team that already had a very, very good rushing attack last year. You add a guy like Bijan Robinson, who's as talented as he is. They added Jonnu Smith for some help blocking in the tight end scheme here. They still have Tyler Algier. They still have Cordero Patterson, who can kind of be utilized more as a do whatever you want kind of weapon, as opposed to just being their straight up running back. And yeah. There it is. Miller, I don't know what those hand signals are. But...
Yeah, you were talking about guys blocking, and you forgot the most important one.
Oh, and Keith Smith, obviously.
Yeah.
In the backfield.
There you go.
Yeah, I said early on in the draft, I just wanted Bijan to go to a team that had a good fullback. That was all I cared about.
And he did.
And that's exactly what happened. He went to the Falcons. Keith Smith had a big old breakout last year. Went from one of those guys who was a special teams linebacker that was just taking snaps at fullback to a legitimate top 10-ish dude. So very, very happy about that. Falcons might have had bigger needs, but I love BPA. I am very, very much in favor of just taking your best player available. Bijan is a blue chip halfback. And I know there's going to be Falcons fans that are upset. I don't care. Y'all are going to have a sick run game. Arthur Smith is going to cook like a motherfucker next year with Bijan. The read options with Desmond Ridder are about to go crazy. 2 back sets with Tyler Algier.
Dude,
the freaking...
Just the whole running back room. Nobody has to have 200 carries. That is going to stop Bijan. He's not going to have 1,500 yards next year. It'll probably barely be over 1,000.
But
that's
the
okay.
Thing is,
you're saving him. That's dope.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're not taking too much tread off the tires early on.
I love it.
And that's good.
Talent
Also, fuck your positional value. I know I'm going to bitch about some players that got picked where they did later, but the difference is they weren't the best player available. Bijan is the second best player in this draft. He is. So, fuck your positional value. When you've got a generational blue chip prospect, you take him. We've got, as long as he can stay healthy, knock on wood, hope for the guy. We've got David Johnson in the league again. Prime David Johnson. The guy who can go give you 1,000 rushing yards, 1,000 receiving yards, and it's incredible. I'm so happy. He got picked early and isn't an Eagle. That makes me so happy. That's all I got.
Speaking of the Eagles.
Fuck them.
Speaking of the Eagles, they decided that they were going to do a little flip-flop with the Bears and do trade to pick number 9. And they took the best player in the class in Jalen Carter, who the only reason he was there is because we talked about the bad interview things. Carter, I mean, he probably needs some work character-wise. The Eagles' locker room is one that can definitely do that for him, I think. The Eagles have a pretty strong culture built up there. He's also learning behind guys like Fletcher Cox, and I know he plays a different position, but obviously Brandon Graham's been there a long time and everything like that. He gets to play alongside Jordan Davis and another Georgia defender that they just picked tonight, another Georgia defender in Nakobe Dean that they picked last time. He's in familiar territory. He's working with some of the best players at their respective positions to kind of help develop him, and he's the best player in the draft, and they got him at the 9th overall pick. So, I mean, I don't have much else to say about that. This is, I think, still a slam dunk hit. I think the character
Georgia Eagle.
Yeah, I definitely think that, like, yeah, best player in the class, easy money.
W pick L Eagles. That's all I got.
I mean, Jake hit it on the head. There's really not a lot to say. Carter Good win game.
Yeah,
Carter Good win game.
Mm-hmm.
God, I hate that. They fucking always have a great D-line, though. It pisses me off.
But anyways.
Yeah, the absolute... And then, obviously, down to number 10, the Bears decided to pick here. And the second that this happened, all we heard Miller mumbling was, it's not all right. It's not all right.
Yeah,
it's not all right. And he would look to the side to his dad and go, it's not all right. Then he would explain who Darn All Right was.
And I just went, it's going to be Anton, because...
Yeah, and then they did, in fact, go Darnell Wright, so they have their right tackle of the future, hopefully. I could say things, but I'm just going to let Miller take the floor here because he'll probably say anything that I would have, so I'm going to let him just go on do his little dance here.
So, like Jake alluded to earlier, the three most important traits that Ryan Poles and Matty Eberflus were looking for in both offensive and defensive linemen were strength, length, and tenacity. All three of those words perfectly encapsulate what Darnell Wright is as a player. This is a guy who, worked with Luke Getsy at the Senior Bowl. Our offensive coordinator has had firsthand experience with him, loved what he saw, raved about him to Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles said he was the top tackle for them on the board. And I know a lot of Bears fans are upset that we passed on Jalen Carter, but like we've said a couple times now, there's clearly something else going on that we don't know about. There's a reason he fell all the way to 9, despite being the most talented player in the class. Additionally, it seems like from what Ryan Poles is saying in his post-draft presser, that other teams were trying to trade up and take Darnell Wright. They were calling the Bears saying, we want to trade up to 9 and we're taking Darnell Wright. Mm-hmm. So that's why the Bears took the Eagles trade, because they knew Philly wasn't going to take him. They wanted to get a little bit of extra draft capital. So essentially, they got a free 4th-round pick for a guy that they were never going to draft. Like, yeah, there was a team that traded back later on in the draft that did get better compensation, but given the context, I'm pretty okay with the trade, and I am more than ecstatic to get Darnell Wright. Number 1 tackle in the class for me. I have been saying it for months. Mm-hmm. I love the guy. I've been mocking him to Chicago for months, and I'm so happy I was right.
Fair enough. Geek, anything
that sounded cocky. I'm just really happy.
No, I like Darnell Wright. I like to poke fun at possible weaknesses just because I know how much Miller loves him, so it's fun. Got to poke a little fun. But no, it's a good pick. The Bears' O-line needed help. Braxton Jones, not Braxton Jones.
That's our left tackle,
Larry Borum. Yeah, I confused the two. Larry Borum is in shambles right now, so Larry Borum is in shambles.
He tweeted out LOL after the pick and then deleted the tweet like instantly.
He got cut. It just hasn't been announced yet. He tweeted that, immediately got cut.
Borum sucks and his mom's annoying.
Damn.
She's all over Twitter. She's just really not. Or no, I'm sorry. I'm not thinking about Borum's mom. I'm thinking about Sam Mustafer's mom. I'm sorry to Larry Borum's mother. I'm sure you're a wonderful woman. I just got my Bears backup offensive lineman mixed up for a moment.
Yeah. Don't worry. I got what were their starters mixed up just a second ago. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, technically, Mustafer and Borum were starters, but I don't like to acknowledge that was a thing.
Valid. Next pick.
Yeah, we had our third offensive tackle in the top 12 go here with Peter Skoronski landing in Tennessee. This is a place that a lot of people thought Will Levis might end up going if he were to slide. Didn't. They took Skoronski. That was a guy that I mocked to them a lot. I think that he fits their team just because solely they have nobody in the offensive line. He's very versatile. He can play left tackle. He can play left guard. He can probably play on the right side of the line too if you really asked him to.
Can he play quarterback though?
I don't know. I mean, it's something that Miller has said that he has the potential to be like an all-pro at guard. Everything that's something that we've talked about a lot. I don't hate it. I mean, he was the best offensive lineman available, like for them. I think maybe Geek would say Anton Harrison should have gone there if they were going to go tackle. But I don't hate Skoronski just because of his versatility and the upside there. So again, like most of these picks, we haven't been trashing on too much, but we're coming up on one that we will. But yeah, I don't hate Skoronski to the Titans at all.
Anton is the better tackle, but Skoronski's not a bad pick. Yes, and when you're the Titans and your entire O-line sucks, you take the guy who can fix whatever hole. Because let's say later in the draft they end up with a Broderick Jones or a DeJuan Jones or not Broderick
Jones went,
DeJuan Jones or any of the other tackles. You could just move him to guard. Like he gives you the flexibility. You can take best lineman available later and just keep building. It doesn't matter what you pick later. Sure. So that is the smarter move. I think it's fine. Yeah. Miller?
Yeah. Like Jake alluded to, you've got, what's it called? You've got a potential all-pro guard or a potential Pro Bowl tackle, or maybe I'm underselling him a little bit in that regard, and he can come out and be like, name's escaping me. Rashawn Slater with the short arm thing. And I know Joe Thomas just made a big statement saying arm length really doesn't matter and all that. It depends. Like Geek said, Titans need help all across the offensive line, so I don't care where the fuck they put him. He's better than what they have. So, big W for the Titans.
Yeah.
Yeah. W. And then this one, we've discussed at one point how we don't have a Lions fan on this podcast, and we're lucky we don't because the Lions decided at 12 they were going to take Jahmyr Gibbs, the running back out of Alabama. I hate it. Stupid. Would have been there in the second round. Would have been there at 18. Would have been there anywhere else they're picking in the next couple of days. They have. I mean, I don't get it. Like maybe I don't hate Jahmyr Gibbs in Detroit, but I do hate him in Detroit at the 12th overall pick. I don't understand the pick at all, and I refuse to believe that this is a real thing that happened. I believe that I'm just tired and I'm imagining
it's so bad. I just brought up, fuck your positional value. This isn't positional value. This is a guy who should have gone in the second round getting drafted in the top 15 just cuz. Like, I swear the Lions just had no clue what they wanted. Well, we can't go Christian Gonzalez because we signed a couple mid corners, so I guess we'll take running back 2 at 12, even though we can get him in the second round. It's so ridiculous, man. This is such... I don't even hate Jahmyr Gibbs, but this is a bad pick. This is such a bad pick. Miller?
Yeah, I like Gibbs to a certain extent. But like Geek said, you're looking at a guy who's RB2 in the class, maybe even RB3. I was so close to moving him down for Spears. So close. But I talked myself out of it because I was like, okay, at this point I'm just being biased. But I saw more people jump into it, so it's like 2A, 2B, right? Either way, taking him at 12 when you just paid David Montgomery, no matter what you think about him as a player, you paid him. True. He is making legitimate running back money, and you draft a running back at 12.
And you still have DeAndre Swift. Yeah. Sorry.
I'm not moved by Swift. Like, he's there, so... But I don't think he's good enough. Like, I don't like him. I don't think he's good. So, like, Gibbs in the second round, absolutely home run pick.
Yeah.
Gibbs, even if like you trade back in the first and take him at like 30 or something, cool pick. 12?
Pushing.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. Like, respect to Dan Campbell for saying fuck positional value. I love that. I love the old school mindset. But this is a bad example of when you say fuck positional value.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Bajan is the good example. Fuck positional value. Take him because he's the best in the class. This is just horrible. This is bad drafting. This is the Lions being the Lions. All right, Jake. Go ahead.
At 13, the Green Bay Packers selected Lucas Van Ness. Listen, I understand like Brian Branch was there and JSN was there and Dalton Kincaid was there. Like, okay, fine, whatever. The thing is, like, Lucas Van Ness, first of all, adds an aspect of power to a defensive line that really didn't have it in Green Bay at the current moment. And also, he's very versatile, and he doesn't have to be a starter right away. I mean, first of all, we don't have anybody out on the edge out next to Rashawn Gary. So there's a very real possibility that it ends up being our 3-4 set ends up looking like Clark in the middle, Gary on one side, Van Ness on the other, and having the aspect of Van Ness just bull rushing his way through the one guy and Kenny Clark in the middle and Rashawn Gary coming off the other edge. I think it's a really good combination. And Lucas Van Ness also just, like I said, he adds versatility that we didn't have. He adds power that we didn't have. He's at least a very good rotational piece if they don't want to start him over Preston Smith right away. I think overall it's a good pick. There were guys that I maybe would have preferred, but I'm not like being like, oh, Green Bay, you've done it again. You've disappointed me. Brian Gutekunst, you suck. Like, this is a good pick, and I don't see any reason to call it a bad one.
Yeah, man. I mean, Goody could have very easily went out and taken, Miles Murphy or Keon White, like we were all clowning him and thinking he was going to.
Yeah.
LVN is not the most polished prospect in the world. There's definitely work to be done. But we've seen Green Bay take on quote-unquote projects, because I wouldn't call Van Ness a project. There's definitely a good player there already. He just needs some work. And we saw them do that with Rashawn Gary. If they can replicate that with Van Ness, that is awesome. Van Ness I like a lot. I think he has good upside. Dude is built like a Greek god. And going against him scares me. But for the beginning, I'm okay with it, because he'll probably go up against Darnell Wright, and Darnell Wright's bigger and stronger, so Lucas Van Ness won't be able to overpower him.
Yeah.
Like I said on the stream, this isn't a bad pick. It's just such a mid pick.
It is.
Like, Brian Branch, JSN, Michael Mayer, there were more fun picks here. I also think they're better players, but
yeah,
that D-line sucks, man. Outside of Gary, you aren't getting any pressure, so like Van Ness is not a bad choice.
Nope.
Yeah.
We had another trade. The Pittsburgh Steelers traded up to 14 with the Patriots, dropped them down to 17, and they took Broderick Jones, who becomes the fourth tackle off of the board. Broderick Jones, like, he was the Steelers' guy at tackle all along, I think. I think that was the dude that they liked a lot. He's pretty good upside, like Paris Johnson Jr. Maybe not as much upside, but he has a good upside. There is another guy that, again, one of us might argue should have gone here, and if he was the GM, would have picked them. But I don't hate the Broderick Jones pick. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's bad, though. I think it's, again, it's kind of like a mid, like, yeah, you needed a tackle. You took a guy with high upside. Fair enough.
Yeah, Steelers O-line, bad. Broderick Jones, good pick. Kenny Pickett, get killed less. So, W, I guess.
Yeah.
Always need that.
And I mean, Broderick Jones is another dude like Paris Johnson who just has wicked upside. He has all of the, like, 5-star athletic traits you want. And I don't think his upside's as high as Paris Johnson's, but I do think Broderick Jones can be a really nice tackle. Sorry, Darnell Wright has just taken over my brain. I do think Broderick Jones can be a really nice tackle down the road. I trust Pittsburgh's coaching staff to develop him. I used to give Mike Tomlin a lot of shit, but he's a really good coach, and I trust what he's going to do.
Yeah. This next one is another pick that kind of made us all really, really.
This wasn't kinda. This is the worst pick of the first round. As much as I just clowned on the Lions.
The At 15, the New York Jets decided that they were going to take Will McDonald, the edge out of Iowa State, after taking Jermaine Johnson last year. Not only did they take a position that they don't need, they took a guy who is borderline and maybe even outside of the top 10 of his position in this class. Like, Will McDonald, it's so stupid. I don't even know what to say about it. It's just so stupid.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I don't
There
see
is
it.
no justification at all.
None.
Yeah, I have
Rodgers
been
has to
very-
be pissed.
Or did Rodgers want Will McDonald?
There's no way.
No,
Unless the
I,
Hat Man told him so. And in that case, who knows?
You know, right. No, with Will McDonald, I just don't get it. You know, there's been a lot of rumors about him slipping into the first round, but I was thinking more like Kansas City at 31 or Philly at 30. And, like, at that point, I wouldn't have been mad at it. I wouldn't have loved it, but I could have stomached it. At 15, no. The dude is like
Nolan Smith, man. Sorry.
Right. Over Nolan Smith, over Adetomiwa Adebawore, even over Miles fucking Murphy, dude. He's not better than any of them. He's not better than Felix Anadike Uzama, who got taken later on. He's not better than a couple of the guys that are going to be taken on day 2. Will McDonald is just such a weird ball player. He's the type of guy that you got to line him up as like a wide 9 and just shoot him at the quarterback. He's not strong. He's not a good run defender. He's just a fast pass rusher, which, like, cool. But at pick 15, no. No. Not okay.
Especially when you still needed a tackle to protect Aaron. And OT1 was on the board. It's a
No,
bad
he wasn't.
pick.
He went at 10.
OT2 was on the board.
Stop.
But yes.
OT3.
actually for me, yeah.
You're
right.
both on drugs. Darnell.
Actually, no. Hold up.
Let me see Darnell guard his outside shoulder one time in his life before I give him OT1.
Let me see Anton Harrison put up fucking a study film against Will Anderson Jr.
I don't think he ever played against Will Anderson. But
Exactly. I used the wrong phrase. It's teach tape, not study film.
Running from the grind. Never played Will Anderson. He was scared.
oh
He was
yes,
too
because
scared
he
to go
makes the
against Will
schedule.
Anderson.
Yes. All right.
He does.
Time to
He
move
split
on
the
because
NCAA extra money.
It is, yeah.
terrible.
To
To another bad pick.
Another terrible pick. They decided that they wanted to go with the best corner available, clearly, Emmanuel Forbes. I mean, who else would they have taken here? I don't know. It's not like there was a guy who went right after this that was just the best corner of the class.
Man,
Anywho,
don't bully
Emmanuel Forbes,
Slenderman too much.
Emmanuel Forbes, whose uncle yelled at Miller on Twitter once, and
Valid.
who Miller had a 3rd-round grade on.
The
and
uncle
who
was right, though,
also-
Miller. You owe him an
Did he say go in the
apology.
first round?
It's true. He did say my nephew Emmanuel
We'll
Forbes
go in
will
the first round.
He was
You
right.
owe
He
him an
cooked you.
apology.
He cooked you.
No, I will go apologize to him right now.
Cooked.
But yeah, I don't like this pick at all, especially not with Christian Gonzalez still being on the board. So this is just another L pick, bad pick.
That's the only reason
I'm
I don't
owning up
like
to
it.
it. I'm replying right now.
W Miller.
W Miller.
All right.
But no,
it seems
I
I
don't
was
even.
wrong. I apologize for doubting your nephew.
I'm not even mad at Emmanuel Forbes going this high, especially since, as Miller has talked about, this was to one of the teams where he fits, so that's okay. The issue is it's over Christian Gonzalez.
That's really the issue.
It doesn't bother me that much that it's over Joey Porter. It doesn't bother me that much that it's over Banks. It doesn't bother me that it's over Cam Smith, whatever. They're all fairly close. But Gonzalez was the best corner in this class, and somehow he's corner 3 off the board. I don't love it. But Emmanuel Forbes, go prove us all wrong. Go be a stud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Geek said, the big thing here is the scheme fit. Forbes is a very particular football player because of his frame and what he brings to the table. And Washington thankfully runs one of these like Fangio cover 4 type defensive schemes, and that's really what he needed to be in, where he can spend a lot of time in off-man coverage. So good for him. Hopefully the stick bug can further prove me wrong, and I'm rooting for him. I'm definitely not rooting against him. I want to put that out there. But I'm just a little concerned about taking Slim from A Bug's Life at 16.
Like
over
I said, stop
Christian
bullying
Gonzalez.
Slender Man.
Yeah.
He'll get you.
I need to stop. I'm being rude at this point. Gumby doesn't deserve this. All right, I'm done.
Jesus. Slender Man
That's
is
the last one.
the fictional character comp here. I don't know.
I gave him Slim from A Bug's Life.
Terrible. All right.
At 17, not only did the New England Patriots trade down and get assets, they also traded down with the team who very well could have taken the guy that they ended up getting anyway. They traded down, got assets, and still ended up with the best corner in the draft in Christian Gonzalez. Belichick masterclass, Robert Kraft masterclass, whatever you want to call it. They cooked, and they're definitely one of the winners of the draft because they ended up with the best corner in the class, and we all know what Belichick can do with corners who aren't halfway as good as Christian Gonzalez is. So this is a slam dunk pick for the.
I think my internet made a fucky here, guys. Yeah, slam dunk pick. You definitely cut out. I think my internet had a moment there. Because you both froze. So, yeah, it was my internet. But, yeah, I hate that Belichick gets a top 5 player in this class at the 17th pick. I hate it. But, I mean, good for Christian Gonzalez. He's about to go be the best corner in the league.
Best corner ever.
Maybe.
Forever.
Expect a, Sauce level rookie year, genuinely.
Listen, I just want to throw it out there. I started my Substack by saying I think Christian Gonzalez is going to be a borderline top 10 corner by the time his rookie year ends.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling really fucking good about that prediction right now.
Borderline top 5 at this point. Jesus.
Yeah. Dude, it's just so... I love Gonzalez just as a player.
Yeah.
I would have loved him in Chicago, but I'm just happy to see him move on, and I'm excited to follow him throughout the league and throughout his career. And to see him go to Belichick, who I love and respect and admire, just makes it so much better. I'm glad he's in a place that I can root for him, in a place that I can really, follow him aggressively. So... big W's for Belichick, steal of the fucking draft, arguably won the first round with a single pick. Dude traded back, got a top 5 talent in the class, and replaced J.C. Jackson.
Yeah.
God, I don't know why I forgot his name. Finally replaced J.C. Jackson with a legitimate superstar at corner. So big dubs for the Patriots. I know Patriots fans got to be fucking ecstatic right now. After all the goofy shit that has happened in New England this offseason, it finally worked. And this is why we don't doubt Bill Belichick.
Never question the GOAT, man.
Yeah. Never.
And
positional value again right here, boys.
At 18,
this one I like.
At 18, the Lions decided to continue their "we're going to reach" in the first round.
High.
Tradition and took Jack Campbell, who I was mocking pretty consistently as a first round guy, but definitely not as high as 18. But as Miller said, I don't necessarily completely hate this pick. I think Jack Campbell's a very good player. I think they have a need a linebacker, and I think he fills that role. I just think 18 might be a little too high for him. And I think that they could have used that on a bigger need and could have probably spent capital on a linebacker in the second or the third. Like Drew Sanders, big Drew Sanders guy. He's a very, very good defender for the Campbell thing. But yeah.
Here's the thing. This linebacker class is bad. Really, really bad.
Sure.
And Jack Campbell stands out like a sore thumb. He stands above. Geek's gonna say something about Ivan Pace. But outside of his love for Ivan, listen, outside of his love for Ivan Pace, which I respect, everyone's got their guys. I respect it. Not one of my guys personally, but I don't want to slander him too hard. So we're just going to take Ivan Pace out of the equation out of respect, right? Compared to every other linebacker in this class, there is a clear gap. A massive gap. I finally got around to watching linebackers. It's not good. I don't like Drew Sanders. I really don't like Trenton Simpson. So you've got Day and Hentley. All he can do is cover. You've got Servakia Dennis, or I think that's how you say his name is, Servakia. Love him, but he doesn't have he's never going to be a great linebacker. He's going to be serviceable. Dude from Tulane, is it Dorian Williams? He's okay. But Jack Campbell can be like a legit dude at middle linebacker. Like I've said before, shades of Brian Urlacher. Fucking love the guy. And as much as it pains me that I have to go against him twice a year, Detroit was the perfect spot for him. He is such a Dan Campbell player. He's the type of linebacker that feels like he was ripped out of the 1980s. He's going to run up, hit you in the mouth as hard as he can in the run game, and then in coverage, he's instinctive, he's got good ball skills, he's smart. He is the perfect guy to command Dan Campbell's defense. Perfect fit to a T. However, unless there's something that we don't know, very possible, I think you could have waited. I think you could have either traded back or traded back up or done something. Because 18 for an off-ball linebacker, when, like Jake said, you have other needs, it's a little bit rich. Now, again, love the BPA, and I'm not going to bash it like I did with Jahmyr Gibbs, but I can't love the pick. And also, they just paid a linebacker themselves. Alex Anzalone just got a little bit of money from them. Not nearly as bad as
Don't
Montgomery.
they run a 4-3, though?
Do they? I'm not sure.
If might
they
be
run
wrong.
a 4-3, then that's a different story, and it doesn't matter nearly as much.
Let me double-check real quick.
Because if they got Anzalone, Rodrigo, and Jack Campbell, then that's a sick linebacker group.
No, they're 3-4. So
yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what the plan is there.
Oh wait, maybe not. No, sorry. Sports Illustrated stupid. List in 2021 they were a 3-4. In 2022 they shifted to a 4-3. So
okay, well then never mind. Never mind the Anzalone complaint.
The issue is they have pick 34.
Yeah,
and there was not a team that was going to pick a linebacker between 18 and 34.
I wouldn't say that, but they would have been in a position to trade up from 34 at least.
The only team
I could have seen Buffalo take them. Given how Buffalo threw away their pick, I could have seen them take them.
Maybe that was the goal. Well, no, because Buffalo traded up for their guy. So I don't think so. But that is one of the places I had mocked him a lot. So yeah. But even then, you could have just traded up or something.
Yeah.
That's my issue. It's not that he's not a first-round pick. 18's just high for Campbell. That's my issue.
To me, like if I were to give out a letter grade for these two picks, I'm not going to do this for any of the other picks, but just to put it in reference, the difference between going BPA in the two situations, Gibbs is like a D, Campbell's like a B-.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with it.
Yep, I agree.
Just because I love Campbell so much. Campbell is another one of my guys. Love the dude. It's just a little rich for my taste.
Yeah, and I just also think there were a couple of guys who would have helped them and filled some bigger needs a little better here. When you still could have came up and got Campbell if you really wanted to. And that would have been incredible had they imagine Kalijah Cansey and then trading back up for Campbell. Or even Mozzie. It would have been more interesting to me. But not terrible, just not the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then at 19, Tampa Bay Buccaneers took Kalijah Cansey. Good pick. I mean, they need just about everything on that defensive line. Cansey is a guy who can play edge if you need him to. He's small enough you can kick him outside, but he can also play that traditional defensive tackle role. I like it a lot. I think it's a good value getting him at 19. I didn't think he'd fall that far, but I think that's the right pick. You just need a guy on defense. He's pretty versatile. He can do a lot of things for you, and good pick at my eyes.
Yeah, I actually wasn't there for this pick, so I remember came back and I was like, oh shit, that's awesome. I love Cansey. Big Cansey fan. Like Jake said, he's a good fit for him, and this Buccaneers just needed talent. This is a guy who wasn't the highest player available on my board at this point. That guy fell a lot, but he was the second highest, and I respect them just taking the best guy on the board at that point, arguably.
Cansey's higher on your board than the guy who went at 20?
Oh, no. Wait, yes.
Really?
Actually, yes. He is.
I didn't know
by
that.
By 2 spots. It's very close.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And then Nolan Smith. It's like Nolan Smith at 10, and then Kancey at like 12, and then the guy that went at 20 at like 14, I think.
Gotcha.
Something like that.
Okay.
I'll double check it real quick
Fair
while
enough.
we move on to the next pick.
Yeah, I was just curious. Kancey, good pick. They needed a talent.
Yeah.
That's
oh no,
all
I got it. Yeah, so it was Smith 10, Kancey 11, and then JSN at 15.
Okay.
So yeah.
At 20, Seattle took Jackson and Jigba, wide receiver out of Ohio State. Shout out the person
Best
who
meme of the
announced this
draft.
pick. But yeah, I think this is a slam dunk pick for them. It doesn't really change the role of the current receivers much. It really just kind of adds a new level to their passing attack and a new guy. They got a deep threat in Tyler Lockett, a deep threat in DK Metcalf, and they have a nice little slot guy, security blanket, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's my wide receiver 1, and I did not, again, another guy that I just did not think would fall this far, but once he did, I was very, very happy to see him go here. And yeah, getting wide receiver 1 in the class at 20, it's good value. You can't complain about that.
Yeah. Best wide receiver in the class for me by a decent margin. Again, really, really like JSN. Dude's super crafty. And like Jake said, just adding a third dimension to that receiving core where you have Lockett is like, your downfield go sprinter type. DK Metcalf is your big physical X. And then Jackson and Jigba as your slot is going to go crazy for Geno Smith. And also good run game.
Yeah. This great move for the Seahawks because their wide receiver before this their wide receiver 3 before this was D. Eskridge. So big W for the Seahawks. Big W.
Yeah, I mean, after this, we kind of had a run on receivers. The Chargers had their choice of the remaining guys, but they ended up going Quentin Johnson, TCU. Johnston, another guy who, just adds another dimension to an offense that desperately needs it. He's a good deep threat for Justin Herbert, who's just got a cannon of an arm. We know this. He's fast, has an element of speed. Mike Williams is not that. Keenan Allen is not that. They have Keenan Allen, slot guy, who just a really refined route runner, kind of gets open. They have Quentin Johnson who can get down the field. And because Quentin Johnson, like I think Geek, you might have mentioned this on the live stream, because Quentin Johnson's a body catcher, Mike Williams still has some relevance in that offense with his abilities and what he can do. So I think this is a good pick. I would have been okay with him or Flowers here. I don't think either of them was a bad pick. But yeah, they ended up going with Johnson. I'm cool with that.
I mean, adding a receiver here, they really couldn't fuck up the pick. I'm fine with it. Yep. Johnston wasn't my favorite receiver on the board, but it's better than nothing. And clearly the Chargers GM has a thing for big fellas. So,
and hey, at least this big fella got speed. He got speed.
This is true. That's what they needed. They needed speed.
So it's a W.
And that's what they got.
Quentin Johnston, it was the best receiver on my board at this point. JSN was gone. So I think that's a big W. And I think if I were the Chargers, I would have taken Johnston over Jackson Smith and Jigba if he was there. I genuinely do. Because JSN just fills a role that's already filled on that team. So no point.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah.
So good pick. Chargers get weapon. Good.
Yeah. And then 22, the Ravens.
Go Burr.
Yeah, 22, the Ravens. I talked about them signing Lamar, and they added him some more help here in the first round and took Zay Flowers, guy who probably could have gone 21 as well. Another guy who had speed to an offense. Another guy who, like Odell can't stay healthy. Rashad Bateman can't stay healthy. Devin Duvernay is a wide receiver 3 currently. So at best, you're getting a pretty solid wide receiver 3. At worst, you're getting a pretty solid wide receiver 3 and Zay Flowers, and just getting Lamar all the help you can at the time of this big deal and after all these contract disputes is very good.
If the Ravens stay healthy, the Ravens offense go Burr.
It's
going to be incredible. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Big W pick. They help Lamar.
For sure. I read a tweet on stream from Brett Coleman, who is like my Jesus when it comes to football. And he pointed out that the Ravens told Zay Flowers at the Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl, whichever bowl game he was at, I can't remember, that they were taking him, that he would be a Raven. And they said that not thinking that he would be there at 22. He was, so it was the Ravens' dream scenario. Like Jake said, you get another weapon for Lamar. Epic speed man, go Burr. W for the Ravens.
Yeah. 23 Geeks Minnesota Vikings took Hendon Hooker.
No.
Quarterback.
Let's go.
It's
didn't
Jordan
happen.
Addison, wide receiver,
Yes.
USC, who sucks. He's just Terry. He's the worst receiver of the class.
Actually, he was wide receiver
Totally.
3, so W.
Yeah, Jordan Addison, W
Bye.
pick, needed a receiver. KJ Osborne sucks, need a guy.
That's not true.
Jordan Addison's the new wide receiver 1 there, obviously, clearly.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, new wide receiver 1 in Minnesota,
After
everybody.
all this time of telling me that KJ Osborne was better than Darnell Mooney, they drafted his replacement in the first round. That's crazy.
And the Bears
That's
traded
crazy.
for 2 guys to replace Darnell Mooney, so that's tough. Crazy.
Prove it. Prove it.
What do you mean, prove it?
Prove it. Present your information.
DJ Moore and Chase Claypool exist. So
Mooney's better than
No, they
both.
don't.
Moving on.
oh, they just
got
don't
Brian
exist
Burns.
now.
We got Brian Burns back in the trade.
So speaking on what Miller just said about the Ravens telling Zay Flowers they were going to pick him, Jordan Addison said to reporters, they told me if I fall to them, they were going to make sure they came and grabbed me. The Vikings did try to trade down a bit, as obviously they would. Kwesi seems to do that constantly. But the Vikings doing what they said they would do, telling Jordan Addison they'd draft him if he was there, and then doing it. At the time, I was a little confused by this pick, mostly because of some of the guys that are still on the board. But I really do like this pick. We needed another weapon. I mean, we've got JJ and KJ, and then wide receiver 3 at this very moment was Jalen Reagor. So, Jordan Addison is a good guy to fill in that wide receiver 3 role. And, you know, the more guys you can get to get coverage away from Justin Jefferson is always a W. The more weapons on the field is always a W. So I like the pick more and more the more I sit on it. It's growing on me. There was just one guy on the board I wanted a little more, but it's okay. I think Addison's a good pick. No, not Hendon Hooker. Joey Porter Jr.
The New York Giants traded up to 24 with the Jaguars and took Deontay Banks, quarterback, Maryland. Yes, Miller.
I'm sorry. I'll talk about it when we get to the Bengals pick. But I'm just trying not to laugh because I don't want to look like a terrible person. I'll explain. Just do
I'm
do
so
thing.
excited.
Deontay Banks is a very good corner. I like him a lot. I think he's right up there with Joey Porter Jr. A little bit worse, but right up there. So I understand them taking him here. I understand their willingness to, or their want to, or their desire to trade up and just get a corner because they don't really have one. Banks is super good. He's got a lot of speed. He's got good ball skills. I like him a lot. I think that this is definitely a good pick for them, and I don't hate them trading up for him either, honestly.
Yeah. Name another corner on the Giants other than Adoree Jackson.
I was literally about to say Adoree Jackson.
Right, like Adoree Jackson's a notable name. Name another one. I know Darnay Holmes from Bengals Giants franchise, and that's the only reason I know him is because he calls him Big Play Darnay.
Big play Darnay. That's goated.
Yeah. The point there is the Giants' corners suck. Bad.
Yeah.
And I like Deontay Banks a lot. Really good ball player, really athletic. Adds a lot to their secondary. They needed it. I really would have liked Brian Branch for them, but apparently the NFL hates Brian Branch. So, good pick.
Yeah. And then the Bills pulled off another really just confusing one, and they traded up to 25 for Dalton Kincaid.
It makes no sense, man.
For them, you can't block. They already have Dawson Knox, and they're paying him a lot of money. He's basically, like I said, just playing slot receiver. I hate it. Super pick. Don't like it. They had Torrance there. They had Branch there. They had Porter there. They had Anton Harrison there. I mean, just so many different options.
They even had Mozzie. They had so many actual needs, and they took the one guy that is just already a player on their team. Dawson Knox
Yeah.
and Dalton Kincaid are the same dude. This was such a
The
waste. At least if you go
only-
Mayer, we're getting, a tight end who can block.
Yeah.
Like, no, this is such a bad pick.
The only justification I can see is that the Bills just really don't like any of the receivers on the board, which if that's the case, mostly
other-
valid because I love Josh Downs, but like otherwise I get it. And they just want Kincaid to be a big receiver. But even then, like, come on, man. You could have
Not a
done
fan.
anything else.
Not
No,
a fan.
I'm not either. Not
Elbozo.
bad pick, lose game.
Elbozo.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's going to be pissed as he gets crushed again.
Yeah.
It's like the Jamar Chase versus Penei Sewell memes, but with Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
Anton Harrison or Dalton Kincaid. I know who I would have picked.
Kincaid, yeah, we know.
Fuck off.
The Cowboys, 26. They sticked and they picked Mozzie Smith, defensive tackle out of Michigan. I had him mocked here a couple of times. I think that they need a defensive tackle. I think that him falling here is definitely expected. I thought that he was going to be a first-round pick, and I think this is a good fit for him. They need a defensive tackle pretty badly. Good run stopper, does a lot of things well. Just kind of an animal. He's strong. Yeah, I don't hate the pick at all.
I tuned out for a moment. Who was it that took Mozzie again?
The Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Ah, yes. Okay, yes. I saw a lot of Cowboys fans bitching about it. I don't get it. Mozzie's awesome. I don't care that you think he could have fallen. I don't think he would have. I think somebody would have taken him in the late first round. Dude is by far the best run defending D tackle in this class, not named Jalen Carter. Even then, it's pretty fucking close between the two. He's not quite there as a pass rusher, but he can rush the passer. It's not like he's incompetent. It's just he's got a little bit of work to do. And he's just a big dude that plugs up space in the middle of your defensive line. It's going to free up Micah Parsons a lot more. It's going to free up Tank Lawrence a lot more. It's going to make Leighton Vander Esch's job defending the run a lot easier. The dude is just a big human that eats space, and that's what Dallas needed. Big guys that eat space are always a W, unless it's Siaki Ika.
I'm going to fight you.
Don't.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good pick for Dallas. As you could see on the stream, Jerry was pissed. 100% wanted Dalton Kincaid there. Dallas and their Daltons at tight end go from Schultz to Kincaid.
They only know one tight end name.
Apparently, because they took Dalton Schultz over Dallas Goedert the one time, which, Dallas on Dallas would have been great. But
Also could have taken the second coming of Jason Witten here.
could
And
have.
Michael Mayer, yeah.
But no, Mozzie's a
no
good
bad
pick. They
Yeah.
don't have any big dudes on that D line, so big man, stop, run, help win game. Good pick.
Epic.
Jacksonville Jaguars, 27. They had to trade down. I took Anton Harrison on my OT1, Geek's OT1, Miller's OT3, but whatever. Yeah,
Oh, whatever.
good pick. Cam Robinson's going to be suspended for doing something stupid for a while, and
Steroids.
Anton Harrison, yeah, he's a good.
Oh, is that what it was?
PEDs,
He's
yeah.
He's a day one starter. Anton Harrison's going to be very good in the NFL, very solid starting tackle. He's the tackle in this class. He's just the tackle.
Yes.
And so, yeah, like him a good bit, like him in the fit with the Jaguars. So, yeah, don't hate this.
W.
I mean, it's a simple pick. W.
And I still
The
don't know if
Jaguar.
Walker Little's any good. So even when Cam
Yeah.
Robinson comes back, there's a shot you just move Cam over to right tackle and Anton's just the guy there. Or you just let Cam go.
Yeah.
I would. He's not good. But yeah.
Yeah, at 28, the Bengals decided that they were going to really just
Bungle.
secure their future with Miles Murphy going to the Bengals.
The supervillain of the 2023 NFL Draft, Miles Murphy.
Bungle's gonna bungle.
Most mid pick ever. Whatever. I
Yeah,
don't really
so
care.
this is why I was trying not to laugh earlier, right? So, fun story. I have a friend who has really, like, I don't know if severe's the right word, but he has Asperger's, and it's, like, bad for him to the point where he, like, has moments where he's, like, gets overstimulated and has little fits, right? He's just now getting into football. He's a big Bengals fan because he loved Joe Burrow. He fell in love with the Joe Shiesty craze. And during the draft, he said when Miles Murphy got picked, because I have told him how much I hate Miles Murphy and don't like him, he said he got so excited, anxious, and freaked out that he started stimming uncontrollably and had to turn the TV off and sit down and collect himself.
Valid.
Oh,
And in the most respectful way possible, I think that's how any sane person should react to their team drafting Miles Murphy.
yeah.
Tough.
Like, I don't know if that's offensive to say. I don't.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
he's
I guess if
bad.
I'm asking myself if it's offensive, I probably shouldn't be saying it to begin with. But
Yeah, maybe not, but you already did, so
Miles Murphy bad, pick
I
bad.
don't know, Geek. You're usually good at calling me when I'm an asshole. Am I an asshole in this
kind of
moment?
zoned out, so I don't know.
Okay. Okay. I was gonna say you're good at
Really
calling me
just
on my
need
shit
to-
when I say things that are out of pocket.
Yeah, normally I get us, but I wasn't paying attention. I was checking
Yeah, no.
NFL Shop for. They're
Yeah.
already set. They're allowing pre-orders for all the rookie jerseys. Why you pre-ordering a jersey when you don't know what number dude's gonna wear? I am not pre-ordering a jersey when I'm not sure.
As he clicks the
Also,
pre-order button on Jordan
I just want to
Addison.
throw it out there as a
Ah.
bit of defense. My buddy said I could make that joke. He
Valid.
said I had
Oh,
his
then
full
Fair
permission and
enough.
consent.
Fair enough.
Homie's trying to save himself
Yes.
now.
I am. I'm a little bit worried. See, I try to say things that are out of pocket and funny, and then I try to backtrack too much because I'm worried if it's bad. Anyways, Miles Murphy, bad. I didn't even say his name right.
Yeah.
Miles Murphy, bad.
Jackson and Jigba. 29, the
Jackson
New
and
Orleans
Jigba.
Saints took another Clemson defender in Brian Breesy, who also kind of stinks. But they did need a defensive tackle. I get it. Maybe Miller's like, they should have actually taken Keanu Benton. But, you know,
I'm higher
okay
on
with
Brzee
that.
than
I'm
you
okay with
guys are.
Brian Breesy here.
I don't hate the pick.
I like the
I
pick.
mean,
Yeah.
I see the upside. You know, the Saints love their big, athletic defensive linemen, and that's what Breesy is. You know, he's a guy that I am rooting like hell for. You know, with all of the shit he's dealt with his little sister passing away and the injuries he's had. Like, he is a story that I am obsessed with. I am a sucker for, like, you know, your after-school special type stories for NFL players. You know, it's just me being corny. I eat that shit up. So I hope everything works out for him. I know Geek's probably the opposite because fuck the Saints, but like I hope he turns into a world beater and a superstar and it just tears the league up.
No, I want Brzee to be good. I just hope that in 5 years, the Saints no pay him and he goes to a good team.
Yeah,
That's fair.
He can be good, but go like get your start in New Orleans and then go be good on a team that's not shitty. So
Sure.
yeah.
And finally at 30, the little edge that could. Finally went off the board. The Philadelphia Eagles took Nolan Smith. Smith's good, very good player. He should have gone a lot higher than this and should not have come this close to falling out of the first round. But it should not have come this close in the first place, but I can't believe that the Eagles take another guy like this. They went for the trenches, good pick for them. It's a slam dunk. You know, you pair him with the other Georgia defenders, great value at 30 for Nolan Smith.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Eagles,
day.
Texans, Patriots, winners of this draft.
Those are those winners. Those are the winners.
W's for all of them. Yeah, Nolan Smith was my edge too. I like him more than I liked Will Anderson. They were all very close to me. They all ranked right in line. But I just prefer Nolan Smith. His bag is incredible. Dude can do everything. So Dude, again the
like we
Phillies
talked about
D-line
this, like-
scares the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
God.
Like we talked about this, like if Nolan Smith was like a standard size for like, or the consent, like the standard like universal size for an edge rusher, he'd probably be the consensus edge one, or maybe even maybe a little lower than that, depending on how much like Tyree Wilson. But he'd probably be at least definitely a lot more in the conversation for edge one than he was. And finally, Chiefs.
Well,
Yeah, let
I didn't get to
Miller
give my
speak
piece.
about the little
Okay,
engine,
yeah.
little
Talk
engine
about
that
the
could, the
one
little
that
edge
could.
that
The
could.
little edge that could. Yeah, no, I love Nolan Smith. You're getting a dude who is a fantastic run defender. Like Geek said, he's got a deep bag, great with his hands. You know, above all else, you're getting a dude who is very heavily compared to Hassan Reddick. And now he's going into the NFL and learning from Hassan Reddick in the same locker room.
Mhm.
And Geek has descended. Okay. Anyways, I love the pick for Philly. Their D line goes crazy. Philadelphia Bulldogs, Georgia Eagles, whatever you want to call them. It's real.
Yep, it is so real. Yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs, they rounded off the first round at pick 31 by taking Felix and DK Uzama. Not the edge I would have gone with, but I don't hate Felix at all. Like I think
Who
he's
would you have
pretty good
taken?
out of Borroway, most likely.
Oh, we had this conversation on stream.
Yeah.
I'll let you finish. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I would have taken Borroway here. Maybe you think that Uzama's a better fit just because of the fact that he's a little bit more of a project, a little bit more like a guy you can develop and everything. Or maybe it's the opposite way around. But either way, I don't hate this pick, stuff like that. So yeah. Okay with
Miller's
it.
stink facing.
Completely unrelated, but I just got reminded by the Walter White seal that Lucas Van Ness is dating Cole Kmet's sister.
He is, yeah.
Oh,
So Lucas Van Ness and Cole Kmet are going to go head to head twice a year.
Cole Kmet
So-
is absolutely blindsiding Van Ness at least
I was going to
once.
say, Van Ness better hope shit doesn't go south.
Oh, God.
Because Cole Kmet's going to fuck him up.
Cole Kmet's going to
Oh
sick
my
Darnell
God.
Wright on him. It's going to be tough.
He's going to sick himself on him.
True.
Cole Kmet can light a dude up.
Cole Kmet's
yeah,
a wide receiver.
Felix-
He was wide receiver one
Respect
last year,
my-
so.
Respect my
Funny Bears wide
glorious
receiver
king.
joke. Funny Bears wide receiver joke.
No, Mooney was hurt, dude.
I know.
He actually
He was
was
the top-
wide receiver
for a while,
one.
he was the top receiver on the team. Yeah. But anyways, Felix
people better.
Anudike Uzama, another one of my guys. I loved this year's edge class, and I understand why he was the pick over Adebare, even though I think Adebare, I have him higher on my draft board. Anudike Uzama is a higher floor guy, super smart, really deep bag. The type of guy who has a ton of moves that he can deploy and knows exactly when to use them to keep a tackle on his toes, which is huge for Kansas City. He's going to step in right away, be an immediate replacement for Frank Clark. And, the Chiefs are a team that want to win now. They don't want to develop players. So taking the guy with the higher floor that's going to make a bigger impact right away makes a ton of sense. And, Anudike Uzama is a better prospect, right? Or not a better prospect, a better player than Adebare is right now. So I get it. I like the pick for them. They needed the D-line help. And now you have your technician on one side with Uzama, and then your big man that does big things with George Karlaftis on the other side. And also Chris Jones, who is inhuman.
Chiefs are
Chiefs D-line
sad.
scary.
Chiefs are sad Nolan Smith wasn't there. They wanted the Eagles to go branch. I can feel it.
Probably.
I
Yeah.
mean, Felix Anudike Uzama isn't a bad consolation prize.
Valid. All right. There we go. There's your first round.
All 32 picks. The grind was real tonight for the boys. We've been sitting in these spots for
6
7
hours.
since 8. Yeah, so essentially 6 hours. Yep. But yeah, that is all we got for you guys. We'll thank everybody. Thank everybody again who came by for the live stream. We had a really good time. We had, I think, something like 31 total watch hours, which is super dope. We gained a good amount of subscribers. Saw a lot of growth through that. We're gonna try and do live streams. That's something that probably we should try and incorporate more into our routine here as a podcast. But yeah, be sure to go follow us on all the socials at Run the North. Every single platform. Go follow us everywhere: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everything like that. And without further ado, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.